News 1. Robert Redford, the quintessential American icon. Introduction. In the pantheon of Hollywood legends, few figures stand as tall or as multifaceted as Robert Redford. With a career spanning over 6 decades, Redford has worn many hats: actor, director, producer, environmental activist, and the visionary founder of the Sundance Film Festival. Known for his classic good looks, quiet intensity, and impeccable taste in roles, Redford became the face of a changing America One that questioned authority, revered nature, and sought depth in both art and life. Born in 1936, Redford's rise to stardom coincided with a transformative era in American cinema, one that embraced complexity over convention. His influence went beyond the screen. He championed independent film and environmental causes long before they became mainstream concerns. As both a matinee idol and an intellectual force, Redford bridged Hollywood glamour and progressive ideals, shaping the film industry while reflecting the evolving values of his time. Early life and influences. Charles Robert Redford Jr. was born on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California. His father was a milkman who later became an accountant for Standard Oil, while his mother, Martha Hart, nurtured his early artistic interests. Redford's childhood wasn't without struggle. He lost his mother at a young age and wrestled with restlessness, which led to some academic and behavioral challenges. After graduating from high school, Redford attended the University of Colorado, but dropped out due to poor grades and a growing interest in art and travel. He eventually studied painting in Europe before returning to the United States to pursue acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. This eclectic background in visual art and global experience would later color his choices as a filmmaker and cultural figure. Breakthrough as an actor. Redford's initial foray into acting came on stage and early television in the late 1950s and early 1960s, appearing in shows like The Twilight Zone and Perry Mason. His big break arrived with Neil Simon's Broadway hit Barefoot in the Park, where he starred opposite Elizabeth Ashley. That role would catapult him into the film world, and he reprised the character for the 1967 movie adaptation alongside Jane Fonda. Redford became a major box office draw with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969, co-starring Paul Newman. The film was a defining moment in Hollywood's new wave, blending anti-establishment themes with buddy comedy charm. Redford's portrayal of the Sundance Kid, a charismatic outlaw with a hint of melancholy, captured the imagination of a generation skeptical of traditional authority. The 1970s, a decade of cultural impact. Throughout the 1970s, Redford dominated Hollywood with a string of critical and commercial hits that reflected the political and social anxieties of the time. Films like The Candidate, 1972, tackled the manipulation behind modern political campaigns, while 3 Days of the Condor, 1975, spoke to post-Watergate paranoia and the fear of government surveillance. One of Redford's most enduring roles came in All the President's Men, 1976, in which he played Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward, opposite Dustin Hoffman as Carl Bernstein. The film chronicled the real-life investigation that led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. Redford not only starred in the movie, but was instrumental in getting it made, showing his increasing clout in the industry and his dedication to politically resonant storytelling. The Director's Chair. Ordinary People and Beyond. In 1980, Robert Redford made his directorial debut with Ordinary People, a deeply moving family drama about grief, communication, and healing. The film earned 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Redford, an extraordinary feat for a first-time director. His style behind the camera was subtle, emotionally grounded, and attentive to character development, a stark contrast to the flashy excesses often associated with Hollywood. Redford's directing career flourished in the following decades, with critically acclaimed films like A River Runs Through It, 1992, Quiz Show, 1994, and The Horse Whisperer, 1998. His directorial choices often reflected a preference for morally complex narratives and a reverence for nature and human relationships. Sundance and the championing of independent film. One of Redford's most significant contributions to the film industry was the founding of the Sundance Institute in 1981, located in Utah. Initially a creative workshop for up-and-coming filmmakers, the institute quickly grew into the Sundance Film Festival, now regarded as the premier platform for independent cinema in the United States. Sundance became synonymous with fresh, daring voices, launching the careers of filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino, Steven Soderbergh, Darren Aronofsky, and Ava DuVernay. Redford's vision was simple but radical: to provide space and support for artists outside the Hollywood machine. His work with Sundance transformed the landscape of global cinema and gave rise to a new generation of storytellers. Environmental activism and public service. Beyond film, Redford is a passionate environmentalist. He has supported conservation efforts for decades, serving on the boards of several environmental organizations and producing documentaries on climate change and ecological preservation. Redford has long believed that artists have a responsibility to speak truth to power, and his activism reflects that ethos. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama in 2016. A recognition not only of his contributions to the arts, but also of his lifelong commitment to civic engagement and environmental justice. Later career and farewell to acting. Redford continued to act into his later years, taking on roles that reflected the wisdom and weariness of age. In All Is Lost, 2013, he played a sailor struggling to survive at sea with almost no dialogue, a performance that relied entirely on physical expression and resilience. In 2018, he announced that The Old Man and the Gun would be his final film role, portraying a real-life gentleman bank robber in what many saw as a poetic farewell to his screen persona. Whether he sticks to that retirement remains to be seen, but Redford's legacy as an actor is already etched in gold. Legacy and influence. Robert Redford is more than just a movie star. He is a cultural institution. His legacy lies in the enduring impact of his performances, his groundbreaking work as a director, and his tireless advocacy for independent film and the environment. Redford helped shape a generation's understanding of heroism, not as loud and showy, but as thoughtful, questioning, and human. He brought intelligence and integrity to a business often accused of being superficial. His influence can be seen not just in the actors and directors he inspired, but in the very structure of modern American cinema, where independent voices now thrive alongside the mainstream. Conclusion. Robert Redford's life and career have been defined by a commitment to authenticity, both on and off the screen. He resisted the lure of celebrity for celebrity's sake, choosing instead to build something lasting, whether that was in film, in activism, or in the wilderness of Utah. His contributions have helped redefine what it means to be an artist in America, one who not only entertains, but also enlightens, challenges, and uplifts. News 2. Al Pacino, the intensity and artistry of a living legend. Introduction. Few actors have embodied the raw intensity, emotional depth, and transformative power of the craft like Al Pacino. With a career that spans over 5 decades, Pacino has become a towering figure in American cinema, known for his magnetic screen presence and unwavering commitment to character. From the vulnerable yet ruthless Michael Corleone in The Godfather to the explosive Tony Montana in Scarface, Pacino has created some of the most indelible characters in film history. His work has transcended genres and generations, influencing actors, directors, and audiences alike. Despite personal and professional struggles, Pacino's dedication to his art has never wavered. This essay delves into the life, career, and enduring legacy of Al Pacino, examining how he carved out a place not only in Hollywood, but in the annals of global cinema. Early life and artistic roots. Alfredo James Pacino was born on April 25, 1940, in East Harlem, New York City, to Italian-American parents. His early life was marked by hardship. After his parents divorced when he was 2, Pacino was raised by his mother and grandparents in the Bronx. As a young boy, he developed an interest in performance, often acting out stories for his friends and family. Pacino dropped out of high school at 17, aiming to pursue a career in acting. His path was unconventional and full of challenges. He worked various odd jobs: janitor, postal clerk, messenger, while studying acting at the Herbert Berghof Studio, and later at the prestigious Actors Studio, where he trained under Lee Strasberg, a key figure in method acting. Strasberg's influence would become a cornerstone of Pacino's approach to performance, focusing on deep emotional connection and authenticity. Breakthrough: The Godfather and Rise to Stardom. Pacino's early stage work earned him critical attention, including an Obie Award for his performance in The Indian Wants the Bronx, 1966. His film debut came in 1969's Me, Natalie, but it was The Panic in Needle Park, 1971, where he played a heroin addict that caught the attention of director Francis Ford Coppola. Coppola cast the relatively unknown Pacino as Michael Corleone in The Godfather, 1972, a decision met with skepticism at the time. However, Pacino's understated yet powerful performance silenced critics and audiences alike. As Michael evolves from a reluctant outsider to a ruthless mafia boss, Pacino's transformation is chillingly believable. His performance earned him the first of many Academy Award nominations and launched him into superstardom. He reprised the role in The Godfather Part 2, 1974, and Part 3, 1990, with the second installment widely considered one of the greatest sequels in film history. Pacino's portrayal of Michael in Part Debut, now fully entrenched in his role as Don, showcases his ability to convey internal conflict, pain, and paranoia with haunting nuance. The 1970s, a golden decade. The 1970s were a prolific and critically lauded period for Pacino. After The Godfather, he took on the role of a passionate police officer in Serpico, 1973, based on the true story of NYPD whistleblower Frank Serpico. The film highlighted Pacino's ability to fuse idealism with righteous anger, earning him another Academy Award nomination. In Dog Day Afternoon, 1975, he portrayed Sonny Wartzik, a man who robs a bank to pay for his partner's gender-affirming surgery. The film, based on a real event, showcased Pacino's emotional range and his fearlessness in tackling socially complex material. His explosive energy and vulnerability made the performance one of his most memorable. He rounded out the decade with And Justice for All, 1979, where he delivered the iconic line, "You're out of order. The whole trial is out of order." The role further cemented his image as a champion of the misunderstood and morally outraged underdog. Challenges and career fluctuations in the 1980s. The 1980s were a more uneven period for Pacino. Though he continued to work steadily, some of his films received mixed reviews. However, this decade also saw one of his most iconic performances, Tony Montana in Scarface, 1983, directed by Brian De Palma and written by Oliver Stone. As the Cuban immigrant who rises to power through the drug trade, Pacino delivered an over-the-top operatic performance that was initially polarizing but has since become legendary. Scarface became a cult classic, especially in hip-hop culture, where Montana's brash ambition and ruthless charisma struck a chord. Other projects, like Revolution, 1985, were commercial and critical failures, and Pacino took a hiatus from film acting in the late 1980s, returning to the stage where he continued to hone his craft and reconnect with his artistic roots. The comeback. Awards and acclaim in the 1990s. The 1990s marked a powerful resurgence for Pacino, both commercially and critically. He starred in Dick Tracy, 1990, Frankie and Johnny, 1991, and Carlito's Way, 1993, reuniting with Scarface director Brian De Palma. His performance as Carlito Brigante, a gangster trying to leave his criminal past behind, showcased Pacino's mastery of tragic character arcs. In 1992, after 7 Oscar nominations without a win, Pacino finally took home the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role as blind, embittered former Army officer Frank Slade in Scent of a Woman. The performance was a blend of bluster, charm, and pain, encapsulated in the film's famous hoo-ah moments and heartfelt monologues. That same year, he also appeared in Glengarry Glen Ross, delivering a fast-talking, high-energy performance as a desperate real estate salesman. In 1995, he shared the screen for the first time with Robert De Niro in Heat, directed by Michael Mann. Their face-to-face scene in a diner became an instant cinematic landmark. Versatility and continued relevance. Pacino remained active in the 2000s and 2010s, balancing mainstream and indie roles. He starred in The Insider, 1999, playing journalist Lowell Bergman in a gripping tale of corporate whistleblowing. In Insomnia, 2002, directed by Christopher Nolan, Pacino played a morally compromised detective in a thriller set in an Alaskan town where the sun never sets. He also embraced television, winning an Emmy for his portrayal of Roy Cohn in HBO's Angels in America, 2003, and later portraying euthanasia advocate Jack Kevorkian in You Don't Know Jack, 2010. In 2019, Pacino took on 2 significant roles: as Jimmy Hoffa in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, opposite Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, and as Marvin Schwartz, a talent agent in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The Irishman earned him another Academy Award nomination, proving his enduring ability to captivate audiences. The craft of Al Pacino. Al Pacino is often associated with intense, high-volume performances, but his greatest strength lies in his emotional honesty and deep internalization of character. He is a method actor in the purest sense, often disappearing into roles with immersive research and psychological depth. His characters are frequently flawed, passionate, and conflicted, reflecting real human complexity. Whether he's playing a mafia don, a cop, a lawyer, or a drug lord, Pacino brings a consistent sense of truth to every role. His voice, gestures, and gaze become instruments of storytelling, capable of conveying rage, tenderness, or despair with subtlety or thunder as the scene demands. Stage work and Shakespearean roots. Pacino has always remained committed to the stage, considering it the actor's truest home. He has played many of Shakespeare's greatest roles, including Richard III, Shylock in The Merchant of Venice, and Macbeth. His passion for the bard led him to direct and star in Looking for Richard, 1996, a documentary that explores the relevance of Shakespeare in contemporary America. His stage work is less publicized than his films, but has been central to his development as an artist. Unlike many of his Hollywood peers, Pacino has never abandoned the theater, viewing it as a source of artistic renewal, legacy, and cultural impact. Al Pacino's legacy is immense. He has shaped not only how we view certain characters, mobsters, lawyers, cops, but also how we understand the actor's role in bringing depth and empathy to morally complex individuals. His collaborations with legendary directors Coppola, De Palma, Mann, Scorsese, Lumet have produced some of the most influential films in American cinema. He has received virtually every major acting award, including an Oscar, Tony, Emmy, Golden Globe, and the AFI Life Achievement Award. Beyond accolades, he has become a cultural icon. His lines, mannerisms, and performances are endlessly quoted and referenced, especially in The Godfather and Scarface, both of which have become modern myths. News 3. Jane Fonda, Reinvention, Resilience, and Revolution. Introduction. Jane Fonda is a name that resonates across generations. To some, she is the glamorous actress of the 1960s and 70s, a two-time Academy Award winner who captivated audiences with her intelligence and poise. To others, she is a symbol of political defiance, a bold activist whose outspoken opposition to the Vietnam War earned her both admiration and condemnation. Still others know her as the face of the 1980s fitness craze, where her workout videos became household staples. But above all, Jane Fonda is a woman who has continually reinvented herself, challenging societal norms and personal boundaries. With a career spanning over 6 decades, Fonda has not only survived the shifting tides of public opinion and cultural change, she has helped shape them. Her life is a tapestry woven from Hollywood glamour, political fire, personal struggle, and a relentless pursuit of growth. Early life and Hollywood legacy. Born on December 21, 1937, in New York City, Jane Seymour Fonda was destined for the spotlight. She was the daughter of legendary actor Henry Fonda and socialite Francis Ford Seymour. But despite her privileged background, Fonda's early years were marred by personal tragedy. Her mother died by suicide when Jane was just 12 years old. The emotional distance of her father and the trauma of her mother's death would cast long shadows over her formative years. Fonda studied acting under Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio in New York City, embracing method acting with the same dedication as contemporaries like Marlon Brando and Marilyn Monroe. Her screen debut came in Tall Story, 1960, and throughout the decade, she appeared in a string of light romantic comedies and dramas. She became a recognizable face with films like Cat Ballou, 1965, Barefoot in the Park, 1967, and Barbarella, 1968, the latter directed by her then-husband, Roger Vadim. While these early roles cemented her as a 1960s sex symbol, they did little to reflect the depth of Fonda's talent or her simmering political consciousness. Becoming a serious actress. The turning point in Fonda's acting career came in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Determined to be taken seriously as a performer, she began selecting roles that challenged her emotionally and intellectually. Her breakthrough came with They Shoot Horses, Don't They? 1969, where she portrayed a Depression-era woman trapped in a grueling dance marathon. The performance earned her her first Academy Award nomination. In 1971, Fonda won her first Oscar for Clute, playing Bree Daniels, a call girl entangled in a mystery involving a missing person. The role was complex, nuanced, and emotionally raw, marking a dramatic shift from her earlier work. Fonda used this momentum to build one of the most respected acting careers of the decade. Her second Oscar win came in 1978 for Coming Home, where she portrayed the wife of a soldier who falls in love with a paraplegic Vietnam veteran. The film was both a personal and political statement, reflecting her anti-war stance and commitment to social issues. Activism and Hanoi Jane. Fonda's political awakening began in earnest during the late 1960s, fueled by her opposition to the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, and the feminist wave sweeping across America. She aligned herself with radical causes, including the Black Panthers and Native American rights groups. But her most controversial moment came in 1972, when she visited North Vietnam in a highly publicized act of protest. During the visit, she was photographed seated on an anti-aircraft gun, a moment that sparked outrage among many Americans and earned her the enduring nickname Hanoi Jane. While Fonda later apologized for the photo, calling it a lapse in judgment, the incident haunted her public image for decades. Despite the backlash, Fonda continued her activism, co-founding the Indochina Peace Campaign and using her platform to speak out against war, sexism, and systemic injustice. She was arrested multiple times for protesting various causes, and she never shied away from controversy. For Fonda, activism wasn't a phase, it was a lifelong calling. Fitness revolution. In the early 1980s, Jane Fonda took an unexpected turn that would revolutionize both her career and the fitness industry. In 1982, she released Jane Fonda's Workout, a home exercise video designed to make aerobics accessible to women of all ages. To everyone's surprise, it became a cultural phenomenon, selling over 17 million copies and spawning a fitness empire that included more videos, books, and branded products. The timing was perfect. Women were beginning to embrace personal health and empowerment, and Fonda's videos were both inviting and energizing. She helped normalize the idea that fitness could be part of everyday life and a source of strength, not just vanity. Her fitness success also helped fund her political work and further broadened her influence. This era demonstrated another facet of Fonda's genius, her ability to read the cultural moment and respond with authenticity and purpose. Family, struggles, and personal growth. Behind her professional success, Jane Fonda grappled with personal demons. Her relationship with her father, Henry Fonda, was often strained. They reconciled somewhat during the filming of On Golden Pond, 1981, where they starred as a father and daughter, an emotionally resonant experience that mirrored their real-life tensions. Fonda also faced struggles with self-image, bulimia, and the pressures of fame. Her marriages to French filmmaker Roger Vadim, activist Tom Hayden, and media mogul Ted Turner were turbulent and often marked by deep ideological and emotional clashes. Despite these hardships, Fonda continually sought growth through therapy, spirituality, and activism. In her memoir, My Life So Far, 2005, she offered a candid look at her inner life, reflecting on her mistakes, transformations, and enduring quest for meaning. Her honesty resonated with readers and added another layer to her already complex public persona. A resurgence in later years. Rather than fading into the background, Jane Fonda experienced a renaissance in her later years. She returned to the screen with renewed vigor in films like Monster-in-Law, 2005, and The Butler, 2013. But her most prominent late-career success has been in the Netflix series Grace and Frankie, 2015-2022, where she co-starred with Lily Tomlin. The show, which explored friendship, aging, and reinvention, became a hit and introduced Fonda to a new generation of fans. Off-screen, she remained politically active. In 2019, inspired by climate activist Greta Thunberg, Fonda launched Fire Drill Fridays, a weekly protest in Washington, D.C., to demand climate action. She was arrested multiple times, once again showing her willingness to put her body on the line for causes she believes in. Awards and honors. Over her lifetime, Fonda has received numerous accolades: 2 Academy Awards, 7 Golden Globe Awards, a Primetime Emmy Award, the AFI Life Achievement Award, the Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement from the Venice Film Festival. 2. In 2021, she received the Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Golden Globes, recognizing her enduring contributions to film and activism. Yet, what truly defines her legacy is not just the awards, but her impact. She is a trailblazer who has broken barriers in acting, activism, and women's health. Her career is not a straight line, but a series of courageous turns, each fueled by purpose. Feminist icon and role model. Jane Fonda has long identified as a feminist, though her understanding of feminism has evolved over time. Initially skeptical of the movement in the 1970s, she grew to embrace it fully. She became a vocal advocate for women's rights, reproductive freedom, and workplace equality. Her willingness to speak openly about topics like body image, sexual abuse, and aging has empowered countless women. She challenges ageism not just by working into her 80s, but by doing so with style, intelligence, and ferocity. Fonda's feminism is inclusive, intersectional, and rooted in real-world action, legacy, and influence. Jane Fonda's legacy is profound and multifaceted. She redefined what it means to be a public figure, not just a celebrity, but a conscious, courageous citizen. She used her fame to amplify causes that matter, often at great personal cost. And she showed that reinvention is not only possible but powerful. In a culture that often discards women after a certain age, Fonda has remained relevant, admired, and impactful. Her life is a lesson in resilience, a reminder that strength isn't just about muscle or power, but about conviction, vulnerability, and the willingness to grow. Conclusion. Jane Fonda is more than an actress or an activist. She is a force of nature. Her journey from Hollywood princess to political lightning rod, from fitness guru to wise elder, reflects the changing tides of American society and the enduring power of personal reinvention. She has stood at the intersection of art and action, glamour and grit, fame and fearlessness. In every phase of her life, Jane Fonda has defied expectations. And in doing so, she has become not only a mirror of her times, but a beacon for what? News 4. Jack Nicholson, the rebel king of Hollywood. Few actors have left as indelible a mark on American cinema as Jack Nicholson. With a trademark devilish grin, arched eyebrows, and a career spanning more than 5 decades, Nicholson became the embodiment of Hollywood cool, rebellious, magnetic, and dangerously charismatic. From counterculture anti-heroes to deeply disturbed villains, Nicholson's performances are layered with intensity, wit, and an unmistakable edge. Born on April 27, 1937, in Neptune City, New Jersey, Nicholson grew up under unconventional circumstances. He believed his grandmother was his mother for much of his youth, a revelation that came later in life and seemed almost fitting for a man known for playing psychologically complex characters. After moving to Los Angeles in his teens, he worked as a gopher at MGM before studying acting and writing. His breakout came with Easy Rider, 1969, where his portrayal of a hard-drinking Southern lawyer opposite Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper introduced him to a new generation of moviegoers. The performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination and opened the door to a decade of extraordinary roles. The 1970s were the golden era of Jack Nicholson. He starred in 5 Easy Pieces, 1970, delivering one of his most emotionally raw performances as a disillusioned pianist. In Chinatown, 1974, he played private detective J.J.J. Gita's in a film that remains a high-water mark of American noir. And in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, his role as R.P. McMurphy, a defiant mental patient fighting institutional control, earned him his first Academy Award for Best Actor. Nicholson continued to evolve in the 1980s and 90s, famously playing the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman, 1989, and delivering a chilling turn in The Shining, 1980, where his "Here's Johnny" line became etched in pop culture history. He balanced these darker roles with more nuanced performances, such as in Terms of Endearment, 1983, As Good as It Gets, 1997, which won him a 3rd Oscar, and A Few Good Men, 1992, where his courtroom explosion, "You Can't Handle the Truth," remains iconic. Known for his love of the Los Angeles Lakers, Nicholson was as much a celebrity off-screen as he was on. He was the ultimate Hollywood insider who never played by the rules. A notorious bachelor and a man of excess, he cultivated an image of irreverent charm and unapologetic bravado. Though he hasn't appeared in a film since How Do You Know, 2010, Jack Nicholson's impact is enduring. With 12 Oscar nominations, the most for a male actor, he remains a benchmark for excellence, daring, and authenticity in film. He didn't just play characters, he inhabited them with a rawness that blurred the line between actor and persona. Jack Nicholson is more than an actor. He's a cinematic institution, a wild card, a genius, a legend. And though he's stepped away from the spotlight, His work continues to inspire actors and captivate audiences around the world. News 5. Diane Keaton, the eccentric icon of American cinema. Diane Keaton is one of Hollywood's most distinctive and enduring stars, a performer whose charm, wit, and fearless individuality have made her a cultural icon. With a career that spans over 5 decades, Keaton is known not only for her acclaimed roles in film, but also for her off-screen authenticity, her eclectic fashion sense, and her ability to reinvent herself while remaining unmistakably true to who she is. Born Diane Hall on January 5, 1946, in Los Angeles, California, she later adopted her mother's maiden name, Keaton, as her stage name. She began her acting career on the stage, including a role in the original Broadway production of Hair. But it was her work in film, especially with director Woody Allen, that launched her into the public eye. Keaton's breakout role came in The Godfather, 1972, where she played Kay Adams, the outsider looking in on Michael Corleone's descent into the mafia. Though a supporting role, it gave her major exposure and led to her most iconic performance, the title character in Annie Hall, 1977. The film, directed by Woody Allen and heavily inspired by their real-life relationship, won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Actress for Keaton. Annie Hall wasn't just a movie, it was a phenomenon. Keaton's quirky, neurotic, and effortlessly cool character resonated with audiences, and her unique fashion menswear-inspired blazers, vests, and wide-brimmed hats redefined on-screen femininity. Suddenly, Diane Keaton wasn't just an actress, she was a style icon. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Keaton proved her versatility with a mix of dramatic and comedic roles. She earned further Oscar nominations for Reds, 1981, Marvin's Room, 1996, and Something's Gotta Give, 2003, showcasing her talent for both vulnerability and sharp comedic timing. Whether playing a conflicted radical, a grieving sister, or a middle-aged woman rediscovering romance, Keaton brought depth and relatability to every role. Off-screen, Diane Keaton has cultivated a reputation for independence and eccentricity. She never married, a rarity among Hollywood leading ladies, and has been open about her decision to prioritize personal freedom and motherhood on her own terms. She adopted 2 children later in life and has spoken candidly about aging, love, and identity. In addition to acting, Keaton is a director, producer, author, and photographer. Her books on photography, architecture, and memoir reflect her deep interest in art, design, and introspection. Whether she's acting in a film or curating images of abandoned houses, Keaton approaches her work with curiosity and passion. Diane Keaton's legacy is one of originality and staying power. In an industry obsessed with conformity, she carved her own path, often offbeat, always authentic. She has inspired generations of women to embrace their individuality and live unapologetically. Still active in film and admired for her wit and wisdom, Diane Keaton remains a beloved and singular force in American culture. I have tried to highlight some important issues on behalf of our channel. Please support me. I am ending today's video by inviting you to watch the next video. Goodbye.